Hi everyone! Today we're talking about how to nurture constant connection in your relationships. It's good to be back with you here on my channel where I talk about personal empowerment, relationships, parenting, and anything related to being better at life. And if you're new, welcome. And if you're not, it's good to be back with you. Something came up at work recently and it brought to mind a phrase that I heard quite some time ago. And it's not uncommon, but the term or phrase is called frog soup. And the concept involves the story of a frog, that if you have a pot of boiling water and you pop a frog in, please don't, but if for some reason you popped a frog in, it would jump out immediately because it would recognize the threat and move to protect itself instantly. However, if you put a frog in cool water and then suddenly crank the heat up, it would exit the pot or it would jump out because it would move to protect itself from the heat that it sensed. Now this is the kicker, because if you took that same frog and you had cool water that you placed the frog in and you very incrementally and very gradually turned the heat up super slowly, the frog would not actually jump out to save itself, because it would acclimate very gradually along with the temperature of the water until the water became so hot that it was a risk to the frog, and the frog wouldn't realize because it had acclimated so gradually to the temperature of the water that it didn't realize that it was actually in danger until it was too late. And so sometimes our relationships follow the same slow death. And if we're not really being intentional about fostering connection in our relationships, that can happen over time without us even realizing. And before we know it, someone's out the door, or there's a divorce on the horizon, or we just don't know the person we're with anymore and can't stand them. So today, what I would like to raise awareness to is frog soup, and use that as a structure or a metaphor for our relationship. So what are we doing right now that is neglectful to our partners, neglectful to our relationship, or that we're tolerating incrementally over time? And if you were to reflect 5 years ago, or 3 years ago, 2 years ago even, what's happening today in your relationship that would have been an absolute deal breaker 3 years ago? And see how that happened. How did you get to this point in time where you were okay with it, and yet 3 years ago you definitely would not have been? Has something been happening slowly over time and you just didn't notice? Because let's face it, life's busy these days. We all have super full lives, and it's hard to really hone in and focus on the things that are important oftentimes. So it's nobody's fault. It just happens. So if you think about what's going on for you right now that you may not even yet be aware of is a problem or a challenge, and if you sat back and did a comparison, my relationship today versus my relationship a year ago or 2 or 3 years ago, what would you notice that would be red flags? So I recently did that with my relationship with my husband, and I came up with some really interesting things. Don't know if, well, interesting is not the right word, but I was actually quite surprised by some of the things that I found. So, for example, in the beginning of our relationship, when either one of us had been away and came home, and I'm not talking about long extended periods of time, I'm meaning just out to the store, or, back from work, or daily things, coming home, walking in the door, the other one that was home already would come and greet so he'd come and greet me at the door, and with a big smile on his face and excitement to see me, and it was so heartwarming, and I loved it. And I felt so welcomed and acknowledged and loved, and absolutely just, it filled my cup up. And I would do the same for him. And now we're probably almost 2 decades into our relationship, and rarely do we ever meet each other at the door to say hello when the other's coming home. In fact, this is what sparked off this whole consideration, is that the other day I was coming home from the store and I had a load full of groceries to bring into the house, and I'd driven into the driveway, parked the car, opened the boot, and realized that I had a ton of stuff to carry in. Front door was locked, as well as the security gate, and there was just no one around. I knew everyone was home, but there was just no one around. The kids were in their bedrooms, my husband was out in the garden, not realizing that I was there. And so I sent him a text message from outside in the driveway to say, please, can you come and help me? And he was more than happy to. And in fact, out he walked out the doorway with a big smile on his face saying, oh, hi, thanks for bringing the groceries. Let me help you. And I just thought, oh my gosh, I miss this so much. And well, that's what sparked off this whole consideration and reflection around what are we doing or not doing that we don't even realize that is impacting us inside our person, our relationships, and perhaps there's some stuff that I'm doing or not doing anymore that he really loved. And so there's a conversation on the horizon for us. And I think it would be very useful. So I encourage you as well to go ahead and take some time to think about what your relationship is like, how you would like it to be, and perhaps do a little bit of a comparison between how it was in the beginning and how it is now. And good luck. I'd love to hear from you and to hear what has come up for you. If you can drop a note in the comments, that would be super cool. And I love to respond to those comments as well. I have something really cool in the description for you. If you would like to, there's a free resource, the Relationship Challenge Quiz. Go ahead and take the quiz and see how your relationship scores. I forgot to mention, there's another video over here that I've lined up for you. Go ahead and watch that one. If you found this one useful, you're going to love that. Have a great day and I'll see you next time. Bye.